Okay, so I'm going to be doing a quick unboxing today of the BFG GS series power supply. Now I have specifically the 550 watt model, so this may not necessarily apply to the other models, but I think most of the same rules should be the same for both of them. That was awkward. Okay, so basically you got dual 12 volt rails. Okay, it's PCI Express, SATA connectors, thermal control technology, protection circuitry. I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to read this. You got a mean time between failure rating of greater than 80,000 hours and high efficiency. So up to 85% efficient. So even though I don't actually see an 80 plus certification, bear in mind that 80 plus certification does not necessarily mean that the power supply does not comply with 80 plus, even if it doesn't have the certification, because the certification does cost money. So even if you build an efficient power supply, if you don't submit it for the cert, then you just don't have it, but it might still be 80 plus. Okay, so BFG's claim here is that the efficiency, oh yeah, that's not even close to 80 plus anyway. So they're saying that, here we go, right there. They're saying that on 120 volt or 115 volt input, it's around 75% at the lowest, around 80 to 82% at 50%, and then it goes down to about 75% again if you load it up all the way, which is pretty typical for a modern power supply. I mean, given that this one is such a value, it's such a low price, it's pretty much what you would expect. See if I can just get this out here. This is not going very well for me today. Okay, so, oh, actually, here's another thing that they call out on the front of the box. So fully sleeved cables, which is really nice to see on a value power supply. It makes it so you can do a nice tidy build with something like this. 6-pin and 8-pin PCI Express. Imagine a video card company properly taking care of you for the PCI Express connectors, right? Then you've got a 24-pin power connector, you got SATA, and you got an 8-pin 4+4 pin for the CPU, which is, again, pretty nice to see on just like a 550 watt, fairly basic model power supply. So inside, we are going to find a power supply quick install guide. Okay, something about power to the people, and that's basically going to have how to install a power supply in about umpteen billion different languages, which is great. And then we have 4 installation screws. Okay, thanks BFG. Usually your case will come with those screws, but it's nice of them to include it just in case. Okay, and then we have nothing else in there. You got some foam packaging, make sure it doesn't get damaged in transit, and then you've got power, like a standard PC power cord, so that's just your bone standard sort of thing. Okay, then you surround it in bubble wrap in addition to the foam that was also in there, so that'll protect the finish on it a little bit. Alright, so let's have a look at the unit itself here first. It's got kind of a shiny, sort of slightly brushed looking metal finish. Okay, it's, there's my camera. See, you can kind of see behind my camera as well. You can see the LCD that I'm watching myself in right now. At the back, you've got your standard honeycomb grill with, oh, actually, you do have to select, okay, so it does not have active power factor correction. You have to actually decide whether you want 115 or 230 volt input. Make sure you don't have that set wrong. Okay, then you got your on-off switch, you got your power plug, and then on this side, you're going to find all of the basic specs of this power supply. So you can see it's got 2 12-volt rails, each of which are rated at 18 amps. And between the two of them, they can provide 404 watts of the total 550 watts that this power supply is rated for. Alright, so that's all the pertinent information there. On the bottom you will find what appears to be a 135mm fan with a nice fan grill, a nice little BFG logo, which if I can get the sticker off, then I'll be able to, yeah, see that, so shiny, very nice. Okay, in terms of connectors, so they tell you things like it has SATA connectors, but they don't actually tell you how many on the outside of the box, which is a very, very odd thing to me. Okay, so actually, oh, those are a reasonable length. These are a pretty good length for like a value power supply, so you can kind of get some idea of the scale here. I mean, when they say fully sleeved, I think they're, you know, exaggerating a little bit, but honestly, if you get a this is higher quality sleeving than you see on most brand name power supplies. Even if it is a reasonably high-end power supply, you can see that even on the 24-pin connector, you can't really see the color of the cables underneath because it's a nice high-density mesh over top of it, whereas a lot of them, you can just see kind of right through it and it's all colorful anyway. So let's get started having a look at what connectors we have. So there's your 20+4-pin, or 24-pin if you will. Alright, so then the next thing we've got here is Okay, oh yeah, 2 PCI Express, so you've got a 6+2 so an 8-pin, and then you've got another 6-pin PCI Express. Then next we've got an 8-pin, or 4+4 pin, if you will, CPU power connector. Okay, well, that's pretty straightforward as well. And then we've only got 3 other cables, so I'll be interested to see what's actually attached to these. All right, oh, this is kind of a weird configuration. Okay, first of all, we've got one cable here that has 3 Molex connectors on it. All right, so that's one of them. And then the other 2 both have SATA connectors. Okay, so we've got 2 SATA connectors on each of these. So 1, 2, they're the first 2 on both of them. 1, 2. And then the third connector on both of these cables here, so we got 1, 2, 3 connectors on both, is either a floppy connector or another Molex connector. So that's kind of a neat configuration. Anyway, thank you for checking out my unboxing of the BFG GS 550 watt power supply.